As we get even closer to the release of one of the most highly anticipated video games of this year, at least for me, Sonic X Shadow Generations, the hype just continues to grow, and today, we just got a brand new video comparing some of the newly designed returning stages within Shadow Generations with the levels they were based on from the three most iconic Sonic games starring Shadow the Hedgehog. As we all know, the confirmed returning levels in Shadow Generations are a new type of Space Colony Ark level, similar to Final Chase and Final Rush in terms of level design from Sonic Adventure 2. We've also got a level based on Bullet Station and Rail Canyon from Sonic Heroes, and Kingdom Valley from Sonic 06. And visually, these new levels are absolutely gorgeous, and the graphical fidelity is incredibly detailed, given that some of these levels are over almost 2 decades old now. And so the graphical engine being used here, which I believe is Hedgehog Engine 2, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, makes these some of the most beautiful looking Sonic levels ever. To set expectations though, I'm pretty sure the point of this trailer wasn't really to showcase all the new level design, but rather simply to provide a graphical comparison point between the old and the new levels. But with that being said, I will still talk about the level design just a little bit near the end of the video, and you'll see why. Also, if you just clicked on this video and this is your first time watching something on my channel, first of all, heyo! And second of all, a lot of my regular viewers will let you know that everything that I've seen about this game so far, I've thought has been incredibly promising in comparison with a ton of previous Sonic titles, and I've been on the record saying that this is quite possibly going to be one of the most polished Sonic games of all time, at least in terms of everything I've seen with the pre-release material alone, so I'm very hopeful that we're going to get a great game here. With the way these levels look, this is probably the closest we're going to get to a remaster of all these games, and hey, I'll take it. Okay, so we're going to start off by talking about the greatest Sonic game of all time, Sonic Adventure 2, that's right. So alongside the return of the glorious Radical Highway, with a slight mixture of Westopolis with all those buildings in the background and the more reddish skybox, I love Space Colony Ark Act 1 aesthetically. Comparing it to Final Chase from SA2, this level is noticeably a lot less full of that blue hue of the original, and I think that's personally a positive thing. The improved lighting and shadows means that you don't really have to force the level to look blue, and it really highlights the contrast of the entire level better. Although I will say I do prefer the brighter looking blue earth from Sonic Adventure 2 because it contrasts really well with the rest of the level, but I still really dig the realistic look of the new earth, and it's also got that glow still there on the edge that looks really cool. Shadow has a really cool looking sheen to him, almost similar to the shine on the Sonic Heroes models, which I've always been a big fan of. I've got to say this too, Shadow is just really well animated, and it is a huge improvement over Sonic Frontiers. You're going to notice this right away, and I think it really gives the game that next-gen feeling, but I love how reflective the floor is now. It looks really similar to those RTX mods that you'd see for a lot of games these days, but it's a lot better because they didn't overdo it. A lot of those mods, I feel like they tend to just make everything absolutely reflective, but here it's just the right amount. And again, due to the better lighting, all of the glowing and flashing lights are super vibrant, making the Ark really come to life. The new sparks coming off of Shadow's air shoes as he grinds are leagues better than what we saw in SA2. It's crazy to see how far we've come graphically from those little pixelated orange squares to that. I talk about this in another video that I'm still waiting on a little bit more info before I drop, but I promise it's coming out. The level feels really open, just like cyberspace, which I really appreciate. It looks even more open than it did in SA2. I also noticed that unlike Final Chase, the finicky gravity cylinders are gone, and seemingly replaced with those wall running sections, which was a really good choice. And there's also no more of those annoying, poorly placed exploding asteroids, so I'm actually really happy about that. Shadow's idle animation is cool, though it does kind of look like he's sort of just hugging himself more than he is crossing his arms, which I don't think was the intent, but that's pretty funny. We also get to listen to Space Colony Ark's track, which is a Final Rush remix, and it slaps, bro. They didn't need to go that hard. We already saw the full level at Summer Game Fest, and I can tell you right now, I am not worried in the slightest. This is going to be one of the best levels in the entire game. Alright, now we're getting into the juicy stuff, boys. Here's some Sonic Heroes. Now, it's no secret to anyone who watches this channel frequently that I love Sonic Heroes. It's a game that has so many flaws control-wise, no doubt, don't get me wrong, but if you're able to get past all the little quirks and stuff that you need to really have a good time, the game has some of the coolest level aesthetics, pretty solid music, especially with all the vocal tracks, and one of the most unique mechanics ever with the fluid and fast-paced rock, paper, scissors character swapping gameplay. So you already know, when I saw a level that looked like Rail Canyon and Bullet Station in that first trailer, I lost it. Oh my god, it is Rail Canyon! Oh my god, look at Aside from like Seaside Hill, for the most part, Heroes never really gets any representation in modern Sonic games, so I'm glad that they're finally revisiting the other levels in that game. So I'm really happy to say this, but it looks phenomenal in this game. The lighting makes the sunlight look a lot brighter, and it really fits well with that sort of dawn-ish time of day. The reflective surfaces are back once again, and you can see that they're more sparingly used this time. You don't see any of it on the wood, so again, they really didn't overdo it like those RTX mods. The rails look super clean. And speaking of the rails, I noticed that there's a lot more variety with the colored ones. You still get the usual blue, yellow, and red rails together, but you can also see 2 yellow rails together or even 2 or 3 blue rails together now. And I just thought that that was such a neat little detail. Oh yeah, and the glowing rails look just as cool as they did in Heroes, only a lot thinner now. Rail switching wasn't really all that polished back in the Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Heroes days. It really took until Shadow the Hedgehog before we got that modern, easy rail switching that we all know and love, so it's going to be much less frustrating to perform what will be a core mechanic of this level now. Although I will say in terms of animation, something about it does need a little bit of work. I can't really pinpoint exactly what it is. I think it's that weird delay when Shadow's right about to land on a rail. But I'm sure they'll iron that out before launch pretty easily. We get another shot of the boost in this game, and the aura once again looks really cool, anime lines and all. You've got a lot of new level design here, again that mirrors the old level, but obviously is very different. And I'm just really glad that they didn't just rip out too many sections straight out of the originals like one for one, and instead created new level design with a lot of parallels to the original. The trains in this game got a serious upgrade. As you're grinding through those lower rails and looking up at the trains above you, you'll see like sparks underneath them coming out like crazy, and it looks super menacing. And speaking of menacing, those spike traps at the front, dude, that gives off the same vibes that I got when I first saw the truck in City Escape from Sonic Generations, where it just got massive upgrades. Those trains mean serious business, bro. They ain't fucking around. The whole level looks to be a combination of Rail Canyon and Bullet Station, and overall, I think it's gonna be great. And dude, I love what I heard from this Bullet Station remix so far. I know it's gonna be controversial because a lot of people are saying it sounds a little bit too techno or EDM inspired, but honestly, I vibe with the way they chopped it up here. It really adds to that industrial feel. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the other act's gonna look like if we are getting 2 acts per zone again. And finally, we move on to the level that I still cannot believe is going to be in this game, the iconic Kingdom Valley from Sonic 06, and for good reason. Immediately, you start off with the return of the glorious eagle, which seems to be the start of the level. I don't know, it's a little bit too early to tell. I'm still not sure how I feel about the new skybox. On the one hand, it does look a lot darker and more menacing, but on the other hand, it kind of just feels a little bit plain. I'm gonna have to see more of the level before I judge though. The lighting and shadows once again are a huge step up and make the grass and the stone bridges look absolutely gorgeous. I mean, this level was one of the first levels we got in Sonic's history that really focused on realism, and I just love how much better it looks with these new graphics. Also, it's just really funny seeing the original Kingdom Valley side by side with this one, because look at how slow Shadow was in 06. Project 06 fans, guys, you really gotta give Chaos X all the props he deserves for fixing so much of that game. Honestly, without P06, I don't think I'd be looking back at 06 as fondly as I do. Although I will say, to this day, it has one of the best original soundtracks in all of gaming. Like, come on, bro, don't at me. And speaking of the original soundtrack, Kingdom Valley doesn't really sound all that different to the original. I think that just goes to show you how good that soundtrack was, because they probably felt like, well, it's already peak, what can we do? How do we make this better? It's impossible! As of right now, they really haven't shown off enough of Kingdom Valley for me to really form my opinion on the level design, but it does kind of seem a lot more open and empty than I was kind of expecting. Again, they really only showed off the linear looking sections of this level from 06, so I'm sure there's plenty more Kingdom Valley that we haven't seen yet that they're going to reveal later on. If they don't do Kingdom Valley justice, I may cry, but I promise they will. I believe, guys, I believe. Overall, I'm still really excited for all the levels that were shown off here. Most excited for the Ark and the Rail Canyon Bullet Station hybrid, but I'm just a little bit worried about Kingdom Valley. One of the social media managers already confirmed that we're going to be getting more than just 3 levels, so don't worry. I feel like that should go without saying, come on now. Plenty more to come, I'm sure very soon, and I'll be here to cover it. So let me know in the comments down below which level has you the most excited so far. Like, comment, and subscribe for more Sonic X Shadow Generations content, and remember, I'll have guides up for the game as soon as it drops, hopefully even earlier. Thank you for watching this video. Massive shout out to all the channel members for the insanely generous support. Shout out to Sonic Heroes 54, Azura, Shadow Tart, and Rewind Plays. If you'd like to become a channel member, be sure to hit that join button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.